my first takeaway is that it's really expensive to defend yourself against the NCAA. Ole Miss says
yeah,
that it will
we could have told you that, Richard. We could have told you that a long time ago.
Ole Miss says it will have spent more than $1.5 million defending this. And I saw John Davis from the one of the newspapers that in and around Oxford that said this is over $15,000 in impermissible benefits. So, equitable there. Listen, Chris, I think the reaction from people today was almost predetermined. If you were a fan of Ole Miss, your stance is, okay, there's no surprise there. You knew this was coming. Now let's get it over with. And if you're a fan of somebody else, that doesn't like Ole Miss, and your point says, see, we told you it's awful. And then if you're kind of an innocent bystander, you look at it and say that it probably falls somewhere in the middle. This sounds rude, but nobody cares about basketball and track and field. All anybody wants to know about is football. And I think the big thing is the 9 scholarship or the 9 initial scholarship reduction. And if I'm looking at the chart right, that would be 3 a year for the next 3 years, a total of 11 scholarships, which, as it's been explained to me, that kind of factors in attrition, and then you hand one of a walk-on a scholarship when you have one open up. So they would reduce that number by a couple, and then it would, at the end of the 4th cycle, have Ole Miss for the last 2 years. So you've got 16-17 coming up. I guess it would be 17-18 and 18-19, which Ole Miss would be a total of 81 scholarships, which would be 4 below the 85, the maximum allowed. So I think that's the biggest thing. There's some stuff that has already happened with regard to self-imposing penalties. They took some assistants off the road. There may be some some additional sanctions that go along with when coaches can recruit and when Ole Miss can host juniors or underclassmen. Some of the minutia stuff on campus. I do think the people that have covered this extensively are saying, and I guess I fall into that category, that most of what was in the report today was expected. So, there was not some nuclear bombshell that was buried just below the surface that exposed this wide-reaching, crazy network that outlines how Ole Miss has been cheating rampantly over the last 4 years under Hugh Freeze.
In other words, it was not as bad a day to be an Ole Miss fan today as it was to be a Baylor fan yesterday.
No, and I've seen some national guys that have already, I think Brett McMurphy, who does a good job, pointed out earlier, and Ole Miss and Baylor play each other in 2020. Well, yeah, we're talking about impermissible benefits versus sexual assault and rape allegations, systematic covering up of, I think the two are mentioned because of the timing of everything coming out. Right. There's absolutely nothing that's associated. The answer to your question is yes, very different than what Baylor went through, but I don't even think these are the same realm or conversation, but they're brought up because of the timing of the two.
Absolutely. Look, this is one of those deals that for you and I, you and I are in a similar boat. We do a sports radio show. You do yours in Mississippi, syndicated statewide, with a guy who's on the other side in terms of the fan base, but a very close friend of yours in Matt Wyatt. But you're also part of the Ole Miss crew. I do what I do, obviously, here between 11 to 2 every day on Tide 99.1. Everybody understands that I work with the Crimson Tide Sports Network as well.
Right.
There is there are sometimes some tough situations that we're put in because of the dual roles, so to speak, and today falls into that category. For you, dealing with some of that myself, it's not an easy thing, is it?
No, it's not easy, but I guess there are 3 things I would say to that. The first two would be I try to be honest, period.
Absolutely.
And I'm on the you talking about the position of working with Ole Miss. I want to be fair.
Sure.
But the other part of that is, I think whether you're talking about Alabama, the state up with Alabama fans and Auburn fans, or Mississippi, you're dealing with people who qualify as relatively sophisticated football fans. And if you feed them a load of crap, they're going to know it, they're going to smell it, and they're going to see it. And so if you or I, either one, want to maintain any credibility at all with people other than just in your fan base, then you've got to be honest. But that doesn't mean that you have to go on the snarky negative tweet crusade, or that you've got to try and bury somebody to be honest. I mean, this is not a good day for Ole Miss. I think people that were being level-headed knew that it was not going to be a good day for Ole Miss whenever it came out. Could it have been a whole lot worse? Yeah, absolutely. And there's also not conclusion. You may have seen in the response from Ole Miss that Ross Bjork and Ole Miss have requested that the hearing in front of the Committee on Infractions be delayed until the latest Laramie Tunsil stuff, that investigation is complete. My understanding from both Ole Miss and the NCAA is that they want to complete that as quickly as possible. That, this is a 4-year process. There was some language in the letter today that said this started as a 3-week investigation into women's basketball, and it turned into a 4-year investigation into basketball, track and field, and football. And I think everybody's ready for it to come to an end. But no, it's not a good day.
Let me put this one other way, though, to put it in a bigger picture term. As disappointing and as bad as today may be, has there been a time in 12 months from now, do you think there will have been a time where Ole Miss football has been any stronger in the last 25 years than it is at this point right now? I guess what I'm asking is, will what came out today, in your opinion, slow down what has been happening for Ole Miss in terms of its success under Hugh Freeze?
I don't think you can accurately answer that question today. I think Ole Miss has got to, the penalties, they've been working with the NCAA, and these are self-imposed penalties at this point, and they are based on, previous precedent and NCAA investigations, and also this matrix the NCAA has that says these penalties go along with these violations. So Ole Miss has done, I think, the best job that it can in predicting what the NCAA is going to penalize it with. But until that Committee on Infractions hearing occurs and the NCAA signs off on penalties, you don't know. If they largely accept the penalties that Ole Miss has put in place, then no, I don't think it really slows the progress significantly. Progress of Ole Miss's football over the last, under Hugh Freeze. If they say, no, this isn't enough, and we're going to tack on another 6 to 8 scholarships that have got to be reduced, we're not going to let you count back, and oh, by the way, you got a postseason ban, then you're talking about something that makes it a whole lot worse and makes it a little more difficult to overcome. But if the NCAA says, yeah, you're not going to get a postseason ban, you're going to get a couple of years probation on top of this, and we're going to accept the 11 scholarship reduction, 9 of those being initial scholarships, I think you can continue to move forward. You got a little less opportunity to miss on recruits. If you've only got 22 scholarships instead of 25, you better be pretty good with the 22 that you bring in. But as it stands today, I don't think this derails the progress that Ole Miss has made over the last few years.